Hey guys, Mulligan here, and welcome to episode 2 of Eternal Errors. For those that missed the first video, this is a series where I highlight the misplays I make with certain decks that I play in Eternal. At least for the time being, it will be with certain decks. And I actually also want to preface the video by saying thank you to everyone in the community that gave me feedback on my first video. I will definitely be taking the feedback that you gave me into consideration and looking to change up the format of this series. But for now, we're just going to focus on specific decks. But we're going to get a little jankier this time and do a deck that I've had since before Jex Bounty came out. Now, you guys might be wondering by looking at the screen here why I'm not just calling this Icaria Gold. Just trust me when I say it. If you saw the deck list for this deck, you would see why I call it Firetime Justice Armory, because it's a lot closer to Armory than it is to Icaria Gold, which is kind of just big Combre, a splashing fire for Icaria and Rise to the Challenge, and sometimes weapons. Other weapons. Anyway, enough chit chat. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the first game we're going to take a look at is against Jellomoose, who's on Shimmer Pack. And after dropping Recano Artisan on turn 2, on my turn 3, after seeing the Amber Acolyte get played, I decided to go with Desert Marshal on the Initiate of the Sands. Now, it's possible that it may have been incorrect, but the reason why I went for this play instead of the Sword of Icaria to actually outright kill the Initiate was so I could use Seek Power to get a power and guarantee that I'll be able to play Sandstorm Titan on turn 4 while also still denying Sandstorm Titan from Jellomoose at the same time. But a few turns later, I punt pretty bad because Jellomoose leaves power open enough to play a Scorpion Wasp, which I really should have seen coming and used the Sword of Icaria at that time to test out for the Scorpion Wasp, because Sword of Icaria in this matchup, it will eventually lose value after Zenith Obelisks come down and as we get into the later turns of the game in general. But I don't do that and I end up losing my Sandstorm Titan for nothing, unfortunately. Now, towards the end of the game here, I make a bit of a blunder by playing power before activating my Seraph. And in general, you should be activating Seraph first before playing power because of the chance of getting a card like Martial Ironthorn, Mystic Ascendant, or just any Empower card in general. And but the real mistake here was attacking with the 2/2 Loyal Watchwing that I got off of Seraph. Had I not attacked with it and held it back to block, I would have gave myself one more turn to top deck a Harsh Roll, which I hadn't seen the whole game. And this unfortunately gave Jellomoose enough for lethal with the Shimmer Pack. Now this next game is against Liara, who is on Stone Scar Jito. And there were a lot of different ways I could have navigated the first few turns of this game, but I wanted to highlight this game because of, for one thing, making sure you're choosing the right targets with Desert Marshal. Here I should have silenced the Blood Beetle, not the Pyro Knight with Desert Marshal. The block was correct, but the silence target was not. The reason why I did it was because I was afraid of the 6 power ultimate from Pyro Knight later on, but you can't really afford to think that far ahead in the game versus a deck like Jito. You have to take care of what's in front of you right now, especially given that my hand was Auric Runehammer and Harsh Rule. Since as long as I got the 5 power, I could wipe the entire board anyway. But that one extra damage that I gave Blood Beetle really came into play. Granted, my opponent had kind of the nut draw with the double rally, but even with the double rally, had I done it that way and blocked and silenced the Blood Beetle, I would have left myself at 2 HP, and my opponent will be forced to have Torch to win the game on that turn. And I could have gave myself at least one more turn. And again, there were quite a few lines I could have taken throughout this entire game. I could have just not played Seraph at all on the final turn as a blocker and just forced my opponent to have the second rally by just going with another Find the Way. I could have even just not even played Desert Marshal at all and just went all in on Find the Way. Given my situation, I was pretty power starved and I needed to get to turn 5 to cast Harsh Rule. But let me know in the comments what you guys would have done. So this next game is against Zero Carbs, who is on Aggro Combre, and here I just straight up punt. After tutoring for Auric Runehammer with Rise to the Challenge to get it to 6 power so I could kill the Sandstorm Titan, I just snap play it, not even realizing that Zero Carbs held 2 power up, and the Desert Marshal comes down, which completely blows me out. And in hindsight, it was pretty obvious that Marshal was in hand. I think the correct play was to just kind of sit tight and see if I could catch the Sandstorm Titan on a turn where my opponent was tapped out and I could actually kill the Sandstorm Titan. So the correct play would have just been to just chump block the Titan until then. The Awakened student really should have tipped me off that this was Aggro Combre in the first place, but I didn't even realize it until Xenonobolus came down. That's it for this episode of Eternal Errors. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to leave a like if you liked the video, or leave a dislike if you didn't. Despite having received feedback already, if you have any ideas for what you want to see in this series, or just Eternal content in general, let me know in the comment section below. And I'd also like to know if there's anything I can do in general to improve my content as well. But again, thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch this, and I'll catch you all next week. Take care, guys.